Okay, here's my level. Gonna have to do this real quick. I didn't want to do too much to it. There's still, I mean, triggers work, but there's one trigger that I haven't done, and it's for the box right here. It's the control panel um, that unlocks the door for the player to be able to walk through it. Uh, I was still having issues with just linking them up where I don't know. It just it's been kind of crazy. I've been juggling the two classes for production studio, um, trying to meet the hours and everything else. I tried to do what I could this week. But so here's what we got. I've got my level. I got a nice big door for the player to try and go through. I chose the first person form. Here's the hint or like tutorial, well, text just to kind of help the player out. That way it's not, they said without being obnoxious or annoying to the player. So it's not like in one of the corners. If they want a hint, they just come over here. Get control panel down. All right, well, that odds are that's the control panel. So once they go in, get control panel down, come away, reminds them that that's a hint again, so it just doesn't sit there. If they just want to come and check it, there it is. Boom. Then I wanted to figure out a way of trying to get the control panel down and open the door. Obviously, the door works right now because I don't have it hooked up to lock and have the control panel work. It's kind of glitchy. I think I messed up somewhere because when you go over to it, it just kind of does that. But I wanted to have the player do something to have to like try and get this control panel down. The stairs can be a little annoying, but I kind of like this. How you can only see the planes when you're up above them. So that, when you're down on the ground, you see shadows, and you're like, what's that? Then it just kind of makes the player want to like search and see what's going on, climb the stairs, and gotta kind of be careful around here. Fallen a couple times, and then I placed a trigger on top of this block, and I should probably add something that shows that this is where you get the control panel down. But basically, when you jump over to this block, there it is. And I added physics to the block so that way it kind of comes down with it. And then there is a trigger here. It's just, and then yeah, I mean, I kind of added a little too much physics. Well, you add physics, and this is what it's gonna do basically. So it kind of stinks because if you go in and players think, they could just be like, I wonder. Boom, done. And that's really not the control panel. The trigger box is right in here somewhere. The only reason there's a pedestal here is preventing the player from going close enough to the trigger box. But yeah, they could just knock it down if they wanted to. They could just be like, okay, how to get this down? Okay, boom, it's down. But then they go up to it, it just like doesn't do anything because the trigger box isn't on it. So I kind of did some research to try and figure out is there a way to connect a trigger box to an object. So that way, if the object does fall like that, if they do it that way, which I guess they could, because if I don't put physics, I think it's just going to stay up there when this thing drops, But if they do shoot it down, could I have the trigger box attached to it so that way when it's down, they could just walk up to it and still have the capability of doing that. So they could either do it this way or they do it the other way. But yeah, so right now I've got the trigger for the door, trigger there, trigger up there, trigger here that has nothing really working for it right now. But yeah, I just definitely needed to put more work into this. I put the spikes up above just to make the player know that they can't get up there. I mean, there's no way of getting up there, even with that block over there. I don't believe so. I mean, yeah, there's no way the player's getting up there. Darn. But yeah, that's my level. I can't wait to go get more into it to add more to this level. Definitely need to work on that trigger and this trigger. It really threw me off because you go through the videos and it says matinee, and you go through and you could try and follow along, but then it's just like, it throws you this curveball of add level sequence. So I was trying to combine this Shell's video with another video showing me how to do a level sequence. And I did look at that one video you did show me that was not in English, and I don't know, I found out a way to how have the door open, but it's not the way I wanted it to, so I'm gonna have to revisit that video that you showed me. I just thought I figured it out for a second there, and I felt good, and I was like, hey, I figured it out. Cool. But I just ran short on time, so I'm definitely gonna have to revisit that video you showed me and try and use one of those to have the door open and close. But that's my level so far. Just get this down. You go over here, and then brings it down for you, and then you just go up to the trigger, which would unlock the door, which would have player input. That's basically what it's doing, player input to unlock the door, and then you can go. So at first, if you went to the door, it won't open. But yeah, a lot to get knowing here. Blueprints to me are just a little tricky. Never, previous programming classes I've passed and stuff, so I guess I get the hang of it, but it's just never been fun to me. Programming in general just has never been fun to me. It's never been something that I've just been like, hey, I'm going to sit down and program. I'm sure that's what a lot of people are like, though. Just, I'm sure there's programmers out there like do it for fun, but I'm sure a lot of programmers aren't like, I'm sitting down just to program for fun. But I will admit the blueprint system does make it better, but I just gotta get used to it. I'm feeling it up. I'm feeling it out. So it is kind of getting going for me, but definitely need to spend more time with it. But that's what I've got so far as it goes, a level is concerned.